Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Granblue Radio. This is episode number 179. Uh, this one I called Fist Bumps for Justice because there's a lot of justice in the gacha this week. It's it's a lot of love for one very specific genre, and then also Noish. All right. I didn't get any of these characters. Did you?
I don't roll.
Yeah. Okay. So let's start with. Do you want to start with the fun one or the serious one?
Wait, they're both not fun. Anyways, let's start with Pengi.
All right, we're starting with Pengi. So before we say anything else about Pengi, we're just gonna enjoy these animations. Number one, look at how big she is. She's a freaking baseball robot, and her CA is that she ejects the robot inside of the robot in order to rider kick with her penguin robot inside of a baseball robot.
Someone's watched a Gurren Lagann before, right?
Robots, people piloting robots, which are piloting bigger robots. I
Yeah.
eagerly await the Dai Pengi. Like Fukuhara said on Twitter, it's like, yeah, she was made with all of the love that we have for robots, and it shows. Like, just look at the description of her freaking hard knuckle weapon. It's number one, it's a rocket punch. We've had rocket punches before, but it's a baseball. And
Yeah.
look at the end here. It says, in order to draw out its full power, one must shout the fist's true name when executing a special move, and the charge attack is Rocket Power Punch. It's Well, kids love this stuff, and by kids I mean people who once were kids when robot shows were popular on TV.
Look, I put a Mega Man joke in here, but I forget what it actually beats, so I'm not gonna go for it.
Was there a baseball themed Robot Master?
No, but there's Hard Knuckle.
Ah, I see. All right, should we actually talk about what she does, or can we just talk about aesthetics a little bit more? I mean, look at how soft she is. She's baseball Baymax, Basemax.
Problem is, she won't last as long as Baymax.
Baymax is made of like actual vinyl. Well, then again, he's in an armor suit, so maybe it's about the same.
Yep. He doesn't try. If you look at her kit, she won't last that long.
She does exactly what she was meant to be. All right. So let's start at the top. We're gonna start at the top with so she's got two specialties: melee and gun. Melee in Earth. So you've got Christmas Magisa, you've got Lobelia, you've got Lobelia, and so everybody looks at that with Lobelia in mind. You also have characters like Ire. Um, there's a pretty decent number of melee characters, but like the cream of the crop, you have Lobelia, Kaim kind of depends on whether or not you actually care about him as a frontliner. Um,
My
Christmas Magisa is disgustingly good. Uh, and so you sort of look at her through that lens, or you look at her through Gun, and Gun's actually pretty sad in Earth because
Yukata Jessica.
so Yukata Jessica, both Eustaces, sorry, 2 out of 3 Eustaces, Halloween and Vanilla. Eugen, who desperately needs a 5 star, but may his voice actor rest in peace.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Raya
Ilsa, and who did you just say?
and Razia.
Yeah, Razia's on that list. It's kind of a very average lineup, but then you go back to Melee. It's like
Average.
I remembered another Melee character who's amazing, by the way, Dante.
Dante's really good.
Dante's really good, and so it's like, so Gun needs her way more than Melee does. But what does she do? So what she does is she's got sort of the Yodarha design. So she starts the fight with 10 pens, PN. So it's an E can, but with a P written on it. So you just see it right there. It's made
Yes.
to look like an E can or an E tank, depending on which language you subscribe to. Um, and then this Peggy right here uses up 2 of them to attack out of turn, and something that you can't see in the draw screen, it has a 0 turn cooldown.
Yep.
And when she's at 0 pen, then she has a countdown of 3 turns to live. When she runs out, then she explodes and she's gone. This is something that she's always had the ability to do as an SR. So she has a nuke that can sometimes just blow herself up.
Oh my Bahamut, wasn't it?
Yes. Oh my Bahamut. Um, but one possible play pattern with her is she comes out, she starts the fight, she swings. It's a guaranteed triple attack when she has a pen, and then she does a nuke at the end for 1,000,000. I don't know what the official number is, but it's actually just 1,000,000.
Wait, which number are we talking about?
The Earth nuke that comes after she Peggies. The after any triple attack.
It says 300k actually on the wiki.
So 300k, with 50% skill cap up, it's 450k with supplemental. So it probably reasonably does about like 500k then at the end.
Yeah.
After she triple attacks. Um, and so like her very brief play pattern is triple attack once, that uses 3 of it. Um, then she's at 7. You triple attack again, she's at 4. You triple attack again, she's at 1. And then you attack normally, and that's another triple attack. So you get 4 triple attacks with a nuke at the end.
All within one turn.
All within 1 turn. And then her countdown starts at 3. Weird thing, I don't know if this is intended, and I don't know if it's fixed yet, but if you wait until turn 4, and she pens back up to 10, then the countdown will actually restart at 3 when she goes to 0 again.
I feel like that's programmed correctly.
Uh, but the reason that this matters is not just so that she can just keep Peggying, but because there's another play pattern available to her where she just does the Robomi thing where she has a gigantic amount of extra stat boost on her CA based on having full pen. And it's something like, what, 150% damage up and then 50% cap up, was it?
You're at 10 stacks.
Yeah, that's disgusting. And so she has 2 different ways to play her for very short fights. She can also just play triple attack, and the hit to defense, this local thing, 5 turns on a 6-turn cooldown. Is it a 5-turn cooldown at
It's
level?
on 5 turn.
Yeah, this is 35%. That's one of the highest that you can get from a single character.
Very good.
So she is meant to beat the ever-living crap out of something for somewhere between 1 to 4 to like 12 turns.
Also, have you seen her EMP chart?
Is it all skill damage?
2 of them are CA cap ups,
Mm-hmm.
and 2 of them are skill ups.
Yeah. So this character just secretes damage. It just comes out of all of her pores, which is probably why she overheats so easily. But
Yeah.
people are talking about her as being one of the most reliable ways to bring out Lobelia from the back line now, just because you get a huge amount of damage, and then she very reliably kills herself, unlike, say, Ire, who also does a good amount of damage before he dies, but is unreliable about when he dies because of his undying status. And then Threo has recently been removed of the list of characters that can kill themselves very easily because she's undying now.
There's still
Christmas Rockham.
But even then, you're pretty much spending a dead turn for that one.
Yeah. So she's an actual character while you're doing this.
Correct.
And given that she guaranteed triple attacks, she benefits from all of the normal things that Earth really likes doing. So, like
Best.
Gorilla, Axe Fist for Hollow Sky. She doesn't crit, so she's not really doing um, the bow gun thing for her gun specialty. But I think she's doing all right. I just have this hunch that she's doing fine.
He has a clear use, and it's a lot of damage.
It's a lot
very
of
short
damage. Yeah. And once again, Hard Knuckle is one of my favorite weapon skins in the game because it's a baseball.
Pretty good.
Uh,
Did you know it stuns? Okay.
I heard. So next up, we have one of the characters whose entire kit, design, and style changed between versions, which is something they don't do very often. Let me just go back to the actual draw menu here. We've got Noish, who is Bow Dagger now.
Yeah, he lost a spear.
Alright, so Wind Bow, we've talked about how pretty sad it is. It's like Madara's good, but all she does is damage and then like a minor bit of debuffing, but not like reliable debuffing.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Fina, who does defense down, and they fixed the defense down so it lasts longer than 60 seconds now.
Well, it
But
was 25%.
she just wants to triple attack and dodge, and that's it.
She's very selfish in that regards. Otherwise,
She just doesn't do anything. And then after that, we're just like, how about Aster?
yeah, there's not much both.
In general, there's not much bow. Um, and then Dagger for Wind is Carmelina. Uh, I
Uh,
do want to talk about something, by the way, and it's the way that he's holding this bow. Like, I understand that this is a way that you can, you hold it over your arm and you pull back, but it's like, look at his glove. It's just not designed for that. What's he doing? Where's he shooting that thing?
I don't
Why
know.
is his arm under the string? Why isn't it over the string if he's going to be pulling that way?
He's
But,
he's he's doing trigger discipline. He's not ready to actually fire anything. He is of no threat right now.
uh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know about this about the way he's holding it. It's really bad.
But yeah, and then Dagger just doesn't exist in Win. Like, Rosetta is not a character anymore. Carmelina's okay.
Uh, Other character is Lancelot,
Who's very good. You're right. I always forget that he's Dagger when he's outside of water.
and there's another character who's also Dagger. It is Serial.
Cyril got Dagger? Christmas
Yes,
Cyril has Dagger?
Dagger Saber.
Is that only for Christmas? Because I swear his,
Yeah,
I was about to say, like, I have to be hallucinating right now. Alright. So, I mean, there's a team there, but they just don't really do that much with each other that you want to do. Like, Cereal's great on defense. Lancelot buffs the team for offense while being good at himself. Um, Carmelina's fine, but she's not someone you build a team around. And so the thing about him is that you're probably actually not using him for his specialty. Like he's not designed for specialty teams. Um, although he does work well with the Hollow Sky knife
yeah, because of the
because
debuffs.
of debuffs. Yeah. He's okay-ish with the bow gun, but I actually don't think he actually gives any crit. Does he? He doesn't. So
You
he's.
know
Whoop, go ahead.
who he is pretty good with? Hellas.
I mean, he's also pretty good with Skatha, huh?
Yeah, and Serial.
So not really a weapon themed team, but definitely a themed team that he's kind of designed for. But what he's actually designed for is Battle System V2, because it's like you look at this and the two things that they constantly want us to be doing in Battle System V2 is refreshing debuffs and doing multi hits. So you take Galleon as your example of that, because it's basically Galleon, Lindworm, and Bubs that you can be bringing wins to. Um, and in all of those fights, I don't know if Lindworm does it anymore. Actually, in most of those fights, you have a set point where you just all of your debuffs fall off, um, and you need to do it again. So he has the ability to just hit this button over and over again and refresh the debuffs. It's like, oh, it's okay, that's fine. It doesn't do random debuffs though, does it? It just buffs
No.
him.
It gives him the stacking DATA up.
Which is something that Shitori gets too. So I guess that's something they're going to start giving to archers.
Other thing is that the sackable does go down to 40%, just like
Urius,
it's not
40%.
bad.
Yeah. Um, but the signature here is he can actually uh, cast Sex twice in a turn. So assume you're at 4 arrows. You hit this button. It dispels. It does 10 hits. The cooldown does not get activated. It You can press it again, and the second cast, it must be noted, does not consume an arrow. It only uses arrows when there are
If there
three
are
or
three.
more. And so you can double dispel and do 20 hits, and then given that he gives chaser and has multi attack, the rest of those hits for that battle system V2 is done. He's done it. Like for all of the great things that Urius does, one of the things he doesn't do is give your team a bunch of hits. Tabina does that. Lisha does that, and so Neuschier needs to be compared to those two. It's just weird that they put him in the same element as Urius to do this.
We need to dethrone him.
You're not going to dethrone him, but you can. This is an alternate usage. And then his other signature is his team buff here, which puts someone into hiding. And so they get attack up, chaser. How much is the chaser? I want to say 25%. What was that?
30.
30? 30 is good. Um, and then a hit to defense, but you're also let's see. You lose the chaser upon taking damage. So because of this hostility down, you're like, okay, all I need is a shield. I wonder who in Wind can give you a reliable shield to protect this buff.
Or
Perhaps.
someone who could be dodging everything because they have mirror image on.
Yeah. Or, is Seaphon and just has unchallenged for half of the fight.
True.
Um, so there's a lot
Well,
of potential here.
Damage.
There's a lot of potential here. He refills 4 every 4 turns, but he also has an alternate mechanic to get them back. Tabina needs a button to do it. He just gets them back passively when he doesn't get hit. So there's that.
That's pretty good.
And then, yeah, he gets attack and defense when he has wind attack up, aka Scarza!
50% defense. That's pretty good.
50% defense is a very good number. We've been seeing that more and more often. And it's appreciated. So the other thing to talk about with Noish is his bow, which is available to go to 4 stars, and it gives crit, big crit, it gives small attack, and it gives skill cap. And so skill cap in Wind hasn't really been their signature for a while. Like, you think about their big signature characters, and it's basically Valentine's Grimnir, as opposed to regular Grimnir. Regular Grimnir has like boosts to his CA damage. He's a defensive character. Seaphon is all about CA damage and just triple attacking all the time outside of his CAs. Like Neon has one nuke and it's just an afterthought at the end of her CA. So like skill cap up hasn't really made it to Wind yet, unless you're playing Astariola.
But hey, this actually helps him out, though. That's the thing.
So it is support for Astariola. It's happening. Because otherwise, you're just looking at Wind nuke damage like Melissa Bell and, well, Noish, but Astariola. But a lot of those aren't really signature characters for what Wind does right now. Except for maybe Astariola. We'll see what happens. We'll see. We're gonna see videos with this thing soon, and it'll just be of the most gigantic of nukes with this. And hey, that's a segue into the new class, a skill damage class. You ready?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
All right. So let's talk about Monk. So this class went live
Last night.
last night. It was about 20-ish hours ago, and I've taken it for a little bit of test driving. I haven't done full test driving on it, but if you leave this class on full auto, against the test dummy, then it actually keeps up in damage with 6 with a ring. That's disgusting. So let's talk about how this works. Have you done much testing of it yet, or no, not really?
Started the 20 like an hour ago.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about its signatures. Though we start with the supports for a class like this. So Snap Punch. When you use damage skills, you raise your martial prowess by 1, and if your MC is almost knocked out, you lose 5 at the end of every turn. So this is already saying I don't want to be an enmity class. So it's already different from Kolulu. Then, based on your martial prowess level, you get attack specs and skill specs, and a chance to deal 4-hit elemental damage to random foes at the end of the turn with Mantra. And
Yeah, the chance also goes up by number of martial prowess.
mhm. And then, so among the many bonuses that you get for being this class, you get 30% skill damage. Skill damage is the first thing that caps. That's unimpressive. You get 3% skill cap up from mastering this class, though. So there's
That's
that.
pretty good.
That's a new line right there. And then 3,000 attack. 3,000 attack is kind of meh at this point. But
But cap ups. Cap
mhm.
ups are nice.
And so then you look at its all 3 of its EMPs are red, and its basic skill is red. So you're just like, okay, this is the nuke class. Warlock has stopped being the nuke class for like 4 years. Do you
That'd be
remember?
basic class.
Do you remember when Warlock was a nuke damage class when it had what is it, Ether Flop, Ether Bane?
I remember that.
They had to,
We all tried to chain those together in a raid.
yeah, and then they nerfed that with the swiftness.
Yeah,
Every Ether Bane was like hitting for way more than it was intended for. So yeah, Warlock has stopped being a nuke class. Nighthound is actually a pretty good nuke class, um, but mostly people use it because Nighthound can hold Hercules.
also true.
But anyway, so we got dodge, uh, you get counter, you get
Yeah, dodge encounter is something we haven't seen on a fist class in a long time.
yeah, dodge and counter instead of tank and counter. Well, it's both actually, but
Better,
still.
but you used to not dodge.
Hmm.
You should just take it in the face.
Yeah, and then so here's an explanation of how martial prowess works here. But the point is, it's a red skill and it specifically says raise your martial prowess level by 1, aka you raise it by 2 because it's a red skill and it says raise it by 1 on here. The EMP skills are actually really interesting.
I feel like this is actually one of the ones where it's like there's actually no bad EMP skill. You just have to pick and choose what you're bringing into.
Right. So we've got True Strike, which is going to be the one that you probably drop the most often because it's 4 hits and Dispel. And it's a red Dispel skill. Dispel's good. Having more Dispels in more classes, good. If you don't need to Dispel, though, this is the skipper.
Correct.
Um, Next up, you have Unyielding Form, so it's a nuke, and then you get Hostility up, Defense up, Debuff Resistance up.
But the defense up and debuff resistance stuff are both 100.
And the hostility is, yeah, the hostility is 100% too. So until you die, you will take every hit. And then Rock Crusher is a nuke. You get 25% chaser, you get armor, and you get crit. And so this is sort
That's
of
4 turns.
this is the laughing logger of the whole thing, where if you don't need the other two, then you'll just sort of generically take this one.
It's not bad.
It's not bad at all.
I'll have to
But
keep casting it over and over again in order to get good effects.
really, so like these skills are sort of just a means to an end. They're not the signature of the class. The signature of the class comes back to this mantra right here. Like, this thing is no slouch. You do an extra, for me at least, with skill cap up, I do an extra million damage at the end of the turn when I have.
It's 4 hits, and it does 180k per hit.
So I actually haven't tried this against Hector yet, but I'm gonna just try it just to see what happens. Just like I threw together this team. It was different before. It was a full auto team. Um, I'm gonna actually try and play this a little bit.
If only you
Whatever.
could bring that Belial instead.
I mean, I could, but I'm not going to.
Other things to note is that for each stack of mantra, you get 10% attack up normal,
Hmm.
1% damage up, 10% skill damage cap up.
You said
Not,
10%?
not,
I was about to
no,
say.
that's wrong. 10% damage skill up,
Hmm.
2% skill damage cap up, and then each one's a 10% chance of triggering.
That seems good. Seems good.
Pretty good.
So anyway, yeah, like the amount of skill damage that you do, like we've been talking about how skill damage has been coming more and more into focus as more characters actually reward you for pressing those buttons. Um, yeah, one of the things that I've noticed with this class is that it's really sad at
Like
multi-attacking.
attacking.
Yeah, it's just real bad at it.
Unlike other like fist classes, it doesn't have any natural DATA.
Yeah, and none of the abilities give it DAT up either. And so that's a thing. That's definitely a thing. Like I'm still single attacking. It's like every hit is a million. Yes. Oh, that's just a single hit. Then at the end of the turn, I have the chance of doing mantra stuff. So that's something. But like mantra also raises its level on CAing, and so you want to be CAing as often as possible. So there's that little like bit of funkiness that you have to work around. But other than that, like this thing's kind of disgusting. It's great.
I like it a lot.
Hmm.
Gonna be pretty good in fire.
Pretty much the only thing it's bad in is enmity. You just don't want to be in enmity, so don't Zoe this. Oh, that was a 1.75 million end of turn just for existing.
Yeah, dropping 5 per when you're in red each turn. It's pretty, yeah, you kind of want these stacks.
Hmm.
You want them a lot.
But yeah, like in terms of having a damage-based class, it basically is just like, look at me, I'm Kolulu now. But yeah, like it does a ton of damage. It has defensive utility. It has some offensive utility. It can't you shouldn't debuff with it. Like I'm only bringing mist because I have to, but like there's a lot of play here. I say that a lot, but there's like look at how much damage I'm doing. I'm keeping
Yeah,
up with a 5-star Eternal.
always always multi-attacking.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I like the class a lot.
Yeah, so do I. There's not. I don't think it's going to affect Unite and Fight by its existence very much, honestly. Like,
No,
I don't feel like this is going to change anything that way. But I mean, it's fun. That's all I ask for with these things.
you
Um,
kind of want fun. It's kind of important in order to keep a game alive a lot.
little bit, little bit.
So there's actually one more thing on our agenda that we forgot to talk about, Dom.
Granblue Fantasy Versus. The soundtrack is out. That one.
No,
Dang
I'm
it.
talking about the uncap for the axe.
Oh, the Ifrit X.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just pub this. Like, I think we've proven everything that we needed to with this. So
With the axe being upgraded, it actually changed its first weapon skill to also give small HP as well.
and then there's also the Ifrit summon. Let's go to Xeno Ifrit in a second. Nobody's gonna be joining this Hector. I guess I just have to murder him myself. But anyway, so the thing about Xeno Ifrit Axe 5-star is that they actually did like this was done very thoughtfully, where um, the current niches for EX weapons in Fire outside of the Hollow Skies, you have um, the Ushumgal, which is
Cap up.
skill cap up specifically, and because it does skill damage after its CA, it's also used in one-turn Crusader builds.
Right.
You have Soul Remnant, which is an auto attacker's thing, and it was also the highest attack out of all of them.
Mm.
You have the Draconic Harp, which is there for defensive reasons, but it
Takes a
also has
little bit for that EX to go up.
it takes a lot. It's for very long fights also, and so the Xeno Ifrit Axe getting HP up is one of the best things that could have happened for it in order to keep it relevant. Where it's there for when you want to survive. It's an EX for survival, um, and that's something that only like the Draconic and a little blast from the past, the Rose Queen weapon were capable of doing.
I would say because the only other EXs I can think of that are useful that give HP are the Rose Queen weapons.
I mean, there's also Hollow. Yeah, I mentioned the Hollow Skies for fire specifically. You have the Hollow Sky Spear as a main hand, and that's like a supremely defensive main hand. And you're not going to use it outside of specifically like Spear Team on defense. There is no other reason for you to be using that thing, you know.
Hmm.
And so they did a good job with it, in my opinion. Um, it's what keeps it fresh. It's what keeps it doing all right. Also, I just saw that my 6 was swinging for 1.2 million to swing, so that's my son. There you go. There you go, buddy. Anyway, but yeah, the Ifrit Axe is a good, very accessible thing. Like you can just mash Xeno Ifrit raids, and you just have it.
This also sets up another thing for. I wonder what they're actually going to give other weapons, the other Xeno weapons,
Yeah.
for
So
when they eventually do their first.
what came after Xeno Ifrit? What was the next one? Was it Sagittarius second?
I have
I
clue.
think it was Sagittarius second. And that spear is irrelevant
Has one use,
as a main
and
hand.
it's because it. Yes,
And so,
because
yeah,
on CA.
yeah, that thing is irrelevant. Like when it comes to EXs and wind, you got Wind Hose, and then you got not Yggdrasil Bow. It's the Rose Queen Harp. Not that Rose Queen Harp, the other Rose Queen Harp from Granblue Versus / Astral.
I know. I know what it is. Because I
Something
just
love.
made one.
Endless love, my endless love. No, it's not that. Shop, treasure trade. It's under weapons, astral weapons, innocent love. That one. So it's going to need to fight against innocent love and then with the hollow skies. And so it's just like wind damage, one foe attack damage cap based on number of buffs. That's a pretty good one. But it's auto based, so
It also has a very large modifier.
yeah. So if I were the team, I would do something either defensive or skill damage based because Wind Hose is also an excellent slot at the end, even though Wind Hose doesn't work in V2. So curious about what they're going to do. I'll just let it come because now I have
We're
even more
speculating
options in
right
fire.
now.
What was that?
Not much point in speculating of what it could be.
Mhm.
There's too many options.
The main thing is they're clearly not going to make them worse versions of the astral weapons. They're going to do something that makes them distinct from it.
Yeah.
Which is
I
yeah, it's an important thing. The last thing is the Xeno Ifrit summon. I grinded my way to a 4-star.
just because he could.
Yeah, pretty much. It's here. The main things about it is that it's 500% fire damage. You can get one in a couple of days. The other really high fire damage summons, there's Agni, which you have to roll for.
The Akar Realms.
The Sun takes months. So does the Devil. I believe red hair does good damage. Michael does good damage, but those are both gacha. So, this is not embarrassing. It gives you 3 out of 6 fire attack up. People used to pack carbuncles for less.
It's available on turn 1.
And yeah, like the problem with this thing being a 120% fire attack up, well, number one, it ignores it's up to 120%, but you can't use things like Bahamut weapons, later on Atmas, Hollow Skies, things like that. Like it's pretty restrictive in that way. You lose a lot of it, and also like you just go to your friends list, and there's just so many Shivas
Shiva.
out there. There's a Shiva. There's a Shiva. In the non-friends list, Shiva, 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 Shiva. Why is this person packing Gabriel? Anyway, but like,
Level 93.
here's a rank 89, and they just have a Shiva because just Shiva's popular. There's a lot of them out there, so I feel like
This has been more useful back a long time ago,
hmm
like back in like 2017 or 2018 rather,
hmm
when there's less 120s flying around. But now like they've given us so many free rolls that a lot of people just have the summons like randomly.
hmm So yeah, I mean, um, it's what you get for being a free summon that is readily available, right? Like,
I remember a long time ago where 60% was our best summons.
and then it went to 80% with Athena, sir.
Yeah, I spent my stones on Apollo.
Yeah. And then remember when we used to actually pack Ifrit as a stat stick?
Yes, I remember those.
I'm sure it's around here somewhere. Greya, 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 Greya. Remember when I made 4-star, 3-star Greyas?
Yeah, I
They're
remember
still
that.
here.
You're not
Um,
gonna get rid of them.
they're equipped. I can't get rid of them. Let's see. Satyr does decent nuke damage, but yeah, like here it is. Here's my Ifrit. Here's my boy. 2040 attack. I made this guy as a stat stick like years ago, and I haven't put him out to pasture yet. But we have a better version of that now. He's right here. There you go. That's what it is. I like
I'm
what they
okay
did.
with it.
I'm okay with its existence. I don't think it's particularly like necessary, but it's fine. I say that a lot. Oh hey, I have Surtur.
I think that's about it, actually.
Yeah, that's it. Um, so other things to mention. The Granblue Fantasy Versus soundtrack is, well, so I said it was out internationally because I can only check Japan and America. Some people were saying that it's available in like Canada and Spain, but South America doesn't have it. Like, people were getting mad at me that internationally didn't include everybody, but I mean that's music rights issues, and honestly, this is one of the first times we've had these soundtracks available outside of Japan.
Yeah.
So it's a start. I keep asking them about it. They're like, we're working on it.
Well, they got you one thing so far.
They got me one. That's one.
All right, that was like the others.
Soundtrack number 8 is going to have existence on it. That's also what I know. Fukuhara went out and said that one because the Beelzebub theme that is in Granblue Fantasy Versus is different from the Beelzebub theme that's in Granblue Fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. We have Unite and Fight coming tomorrow. We don't really talk about that one. However, here's the fun thing. So tomorrow we have Rage Granblue Fantasy Versus.
And we have some special guests on that one.
So Rage GB Versus starts at what 4 p.m. Japan time, which is midnight our time, here on the west coast of the United States. Kato Emery and Osaka Ryota are going to be special guests there. It's an Arc System Works tradition. They tend to bring VAs out to do that. I mean, Capcom did it with American voice actors too, so it's not like it's weird.
Richie.
Gee, the president of the world. The thing from there is that right around 3 hours in, there's going to be an event that starts at 7 p.m. Japan time that Kato Emery mashes like a crazed woman. And so
I'm excited.
I'm excited to see if we can catch her, like, not expecting the camera, just on her phone mashing. Just like, I've got to hit my quota. I need to get this meat. Because people have done that before for Nakamura Yuichi. He has been caught playing when the camera isn't looking during anniversary streams. He's just like, just under the table, like playing Granblue Fantasy while being paid to talk about Granblue Fantasy and be grumpy.
It's great. It's great. I love it.
So Kato Emery, it's like Unite and Fight will start. Will she resist the urge, or will she be just like, I'm sorry, I've got to get this beat?
I'm gonna expect that she's gonna be able to play because the camera's not gonna always be on them.
Yeah, that's fair. Um, oh yeah, and let's see here: Granblue Fantasy Versus soundtrack, Rage, Granblue Fantasy Versus. Here's the last thing. So DJ,
Yes.
Pengi and Noish, characters that
All
you can
right.
get in the Unite and Fight box
Yes.
because they were part of promotions that are no longer available. Noish was Refer a Friend back in the opening parts of Granblue Fantasy. Pengi was a Tokyo Game Show bonus for going there, and then she was provided later when we had the virtual Grand Cipher, if you remember that event.
I remember that.
And so the two remaining are Abby, who is completely forgotten.
But she's right here. I
She's
see her right in front of your screen.
she like every once in a while, like Kato Emery herself forgets that she plays this character. Um, and then the other one is Ceylan, the puppy Arun.
I
Do,
totally forgot about that character at all.
do you think that they're coming at the end of the month, or you think it's just going to be swimsuits?
Uh, is it? Do we? When do we usually get swimsuits?
So we usually get swimsuits starting in the Flash Gala of July. Last year we got them starting at the end of June with the summer event. That was when we got Sandalphon.
It's hard. That's a very hard call because the current presidents and the previous presidents are two different things.
I'm going to call. Jeez. Okay. This time next week we won't even No, we will have the preview for the next event ready by then.
I'm going to go
Mm.
with swimsuit.
Yeah, I'm going with swimsuits. They make more money.
Yeah, they do.
Swimsuit Ceylon?
I still don't know that character.
How could you not know that character? He was provided what 5 years ago, 4 years ago as a Tokyo Game Show bonus and hasn't shown up since.
Yeah, I know Abby at least because of the bear.
Because the bear's voiced by Sakurai, he's the seventh
Yes.
Sakurai. What is he? He's like SSR Light Staff. Where is this boy? There he is. I found him. This obscure little puppy. My God. My God, it's been a long time.
Oh, look, he has clear.
I'm gonna sort this by oldest and see what happens. Got acquired. There we go. He is my oldest. Okay, hold on. Not custom filter. Oh no, I did it wrong. That was my normal filter. SR. Let's just go with Aruns and filter it by age. All right. So yeah, he's one of my oldest SRs. Period. He's just been sitting here this entire time, apparently at 2 stars.
Well, you see how much love he got.
He got more love than Kihar, I guess. Anyway, we'll figure it out. By this time next week, we should have the preview for the next event. We'll be, let's see, it'll be the 25th. Yeah, we'll have very little else to talk about. But we'll see you then.
All right.
Thanks, DJ.
I gotta catch you guys later.
All right, later, guys.